Well, welcome back everybody. Now we have spent the last 2 days sat inside Big Red, playing with tape measures and pulling our hair out, trying to come up with some kind of a layout. But I think we're finally there. So come on in, out the rain, and let me show you what we've got to. Now I think our plan for this has changed about 100 times, and that's because when we got it, all the back here was filled with firefighting equipment, there was a wall, and we just didn't really know what space we had to work with, which was very different to when we got the Sainsbury's van, because our plan we had on day one was pretty much exactly what we delivered, apart from two things. One, we didn't put a TV on the wall, and two, John's predictions were a little bit out. I just think we should take a moment to admire your beautiful drawings here.
That's me shredding, and that's Jess crashing at the bottom.
Oh yeah, how many times have you been snowboarding?
Never been before, but that's what's going to happen. Well, we all know that's Jess is going to be crashing.
Yeah, that is fair play. Now for any of you who came to Norway with us, we'll know what really happened. So today's gone a little bit not quite to plan. We went out on the slopes and then I found John at the bottom telling me that he didn't know where we were because he'd wiped out on his way down. He's got a concussion. He won't let me take him to first aid and he's got short-term memory loss.
And I still don't know if I got a birthday treat either.
Oh, Jesus. Can you remember what day it is?
Is it Christmas Day?
It is Christmas Day.
Did I get a birthday?
Anyways, so the plan for here is we're going to have a little L-shaped sofa, which will hide our toilet under here, make use of this weirdo space here where the gearbox goes for storage, and give us a little table, probably on a lagoon mount. And then along this wall, we're going to have a great big kitchen cabinet. It's going to house my fridge, have loads of storage in it. And then at the back here, the worktop will sit just under the window, and that's where my air fryer is going to go.
Well, now she's stopped rambling, I can show you the first tool of the week, because it's a brilliant bit of kit for the workshop. And I've got some absolute belters to show you later on as well. But this idea I got from a couple in New Zealand called DIY Adventure NZ. And they're building a GRP caravan from scratch, which is something that I think we should do in this country a lot more. But at the minute they're doing an elevated bed platform, which is something that we want to do in a future build. But when we're building all these campers, obviously we do it in stages. So we've installed some of the electrics, but we've not wired it all up yet. And then when I install the lights, obviously I need to test them. So normally I drag a battery out and touch the wires on the terminals to check them out. But I found this little beauty on eBay, £8, and it comes with the Wago connectors, an inline fuse, and the actual connector itself. And you can get different ones for different brands, but you just get your 12-volt Milwaukee battery, plug it in, you got lights. So you can test it on your water pumps and everything else that's 12 volt in your vehicle. But not only that, on a grey day like today, I can just plug this in, and we've got lights to work with.
Now, if you don't know what a Wago connector is, because I didn't until recently, they're just a lever action wire connector. So what you do, you get your little wire you want to join, pop it in and flick the lever down. And it's nice and secure. And then to remove it, you can just flick it up and it pops back out. Now, they are made for the household industry, so they're really safe and reliable. Now, this one is a double ender, but they come in all different shapes and sizes too.
But I think we need to address the elephant in the room, don't we?
I don't like doing this.
Because we had a lot of comments last week about Jess's microphone. And come back in here! Come back!
No, quit! I'm done!
Come back! And we had everybody asking when Jess is going to start her Toy Talk Tuesday.
Pretty much every comment last week was a smack comment, is what happened.
We got asked, was the microphone an authorised purchase or unauthorised purchase?
It was authorised. Only one of us breaks the rules in this household.
But I can safely say that we don't have any pet rabbits either, do we, Jess? But for once, it's me that needs to have a go at you lot for all the tool suggestions you're sending in to Jess. The reciprocating saw attachment. How am I going to compete with that? So we got all these panels cut for the base unit, and you might have noticed that we got these holes in the bottom. Now they'll get covered up by a drawer, but I had to install them because that's where the bolts are for the belly lockers that are outside. Now to mark them up so it's exact, what I do is I get a little marker pen, put a little mark on the top of the bolt, then when I install my wood, give it a little tap where the bolts are, pull the wood off, and you'll see the little marks on the wood, and that's where you know you need to drill. So all I need to do now is get these side panels scribed to the back wall and get them installed.
And while John's on with that, guess what I'm doing? more carpeting.
Now we have some cabinet dividers in. Now when I did the Defender, I quickly learned that you can't cut and scribe one panel and then cut the rest of them to suit, because the wall changes as you go along. So I thought this time, I've got this. So I scribed everyone independent, cut them all, they fit perfect, then realised that the wheel well's not square the whole way along, so I had to redo them all again. But hopefully I've got this calculation right, because we've decided we're going to build the unit up outside, get it all finished, paint it up, and then hopefully get it back in. It'll be a bit of a tight squeeze, but worst case scenario, we'll be able to go through the roof. Now, I told you before how we like to screw our cabinets together, and that's with pocket hole screws. So I don't want to repeat myself. So what I'll do is I'll just drop a link in the description where Jess goes over it in detail. But one thing I did want to repeat is, if you're using 12mm boards, the smallest screw I can find is a 25mm Craig screw. And when you use them, it pokes out the end of the wood when you screw it in. So the way I found to get round that is if you set your jig up to a 16mm board thickness, and also your drill bit for a 16mm board, when you use these screws, it works a treat and it doesn't poke out the end. So if any of you know where I can get some smaller screws from so it works with 12mm, let me know.
And I've got all of my carpeting done. Now, we were originally going to wood board all of this, which is why I didn't do it when I did the rest of the carpeting. But we realised it'd be much easier to trim up this engine bay cover if we did it out of carpet. So by the time I get my trim on the top here and we build out the sofa, you're not going to see a lot of this, but the bits that you do see will look nice and neat. Well, I should not operate heavy machinery for the rest of today, thanks to John Payne.
She's having a drama. She like tapped her head on the roller shutter door.
Tapped
and
my
fell
head,
over,
belted
and
my
now
head.
she reckons she's got concussion, doesn't she?
No, so the man arrived with my air fryer, of course I'm excited, ran out the shed to go get it, but John's roller shuttered the roller shutter down to this height. So I hit my head so hard, legs flew up in the air, landed on my bum. Do you know what he said? Not, "Are you okay?" "Oh, I'm sorry, love." He said, "Ah, shame we didn't have the camera on that." Then proceeded to walk past me to collect my air fryer and back. And did he say sorry? Did he buggery? And this is after he gave me a lecture for about half an hour the other week about why it's so important you put the roller shutter door all the way up.
I was just teaching her a lesson, the importance of putting it up properly, that's all.
I don't think lessons should be taught with concussions.
Let's see if she fits. Just watch them legs, yeah? Nope.
It's not happening.
Good job I had some calculations for this, didn't I?
Ugh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Go in?
She's in.
Why doesn't it go in? It doesn't fit. Come on. Right, you're gonna have to. Oh.
She's in. She have little faith.
Now this is as far as we're going to go with this for now, because we want to get all the rest of the carcasses in and make sure the design's all going to work and flow together perfectly before we go any further with it. But I thought I'd give you the lowdown of what's going where. So at the front here, I'm going to have a big hinging worktop, just like I've got in the Sainsbury's van, just to give me a bit extra space. Then in here, we're going to have the sink with a water filtration system hidden at the back, then a drawer in here, and then a big L-shaped drawer in here. And we're doing that to try and make the most use of this space here. Because it's tall but also narrow, it's a bit hard to sort of ram stuff in. Whereas if we make it a pull-out drawer, you can ram it in from down the top. So it'll be good for our clothes, bikinis, that kind of thing.
Yeah, mate.
Then in here, we're going to have our fridge. We've got a lovely fridge to show you. And then another drawer down the bottom there that will work the same as these. Then this one's 3 drawers. At the back here, we've done it so that we'll get our batteries in, our safe in, and our inverter. But it is a tight squeeze. And then there's going to be a door on here, a door on here, air fryer up there, induction hob here. She'll be a beauty. Now on the agenda for today is making the L-shaped sofa. But as I've shown you one of my essential bits of kit for the camper, I thought I'd better show you another, the fridge. Because John well knows you do not want to travel with me without one. Now, when we first started building campers, I had no idea what kind of fridge to buy, and I just immediately assumed we'd get a three-way fridge like what they put in caravans. And if you don't know, a three-way fridge works off of 240-volt, gas, and 12-volt. But they're actually becoming a bit obsolete and a bit old technology because these 12-volt fridges, or you might hear them called compressor fridges, are so efficient now. And what's brilliant about this one is that you get 3-stage battery protection with it, so you don't have to worry about it killing your leisure batteries. Another choice is whether you want a chest style fridge or an upright fridge. Now, people say that the chest fridges are much more efficient at staying cold, but we've always had these upright fridges and we've never had any problem with them. Like in Australia in 40 degrees, in Morocco in 40 degrees, in England in... Now, another issue people find with these upright fridges is their food moving about while they're driving, particularly people who go off-roading. Now, I combat that in 2 different ways. First is, my fridge is always rammed full. And secondly, when I do things like remove this freezer compartment to give myself more fridge space, I'll put these containers in here, which stops anything moving around. And we've tested these out on some of the worst corrugations you have ever seen.
What are we doing?
Now, we've told you before that we're partnering with Autotemp for this build for the fridge and the diesel heater. And they've given us a 5% discount for you guys on all of their products. You just have to use the code TRUEBLUE5 at the checkout. Now, this fridge has got a 3-year warranty, and Autoterm are a UK-based company. So if you need any help, we've got any problems, they're easy to contact, and you know you're going to get good customer service. It's taken us the whole day, but we have half a sofa. Now, the reason it's taken us so long is because we want to make use of every little nook and cranny. So, for example, we needed to build this up a little bit because of the height of the toilet. It also makes it a bit more comfy. But we didn't want to just waste this space under here. So we've done it with all these lift-out lids, so you can get towels and t-shirts and bits and bobs that will go nice and flat in there, and it doesn't become just a waste. Then down in this space here, we've got a nice big deep area that we can store things in, which also doubles up as holding the toilet in place so it won't roll around, particularly when we're going off-roading, because we definitely don't want that. Then down on this side, ignore this, I need to finish trimming it up, but we're going to have all our toiletries and toilet paper and bits like that. Now, you might have got an eagle eye and see that these look a little bit small, and that's because we've learned over the years you need to leave a paint gap. Because so many times we've done things, thought we'd made them perfectly, painted them, and they won't go back together.
So before we call it a day, I want to do a triple T on these little beauties, my new 3D printers. Now, it was actually you guys that got me into these because you were messaging saying I should get one, they're so good to use. So I started looking into it, and the Bamboo X1 was the one that sort of came out on top. So I was looking at buying it, and then by some freak coincidence, Bamboo emailed me and said, did I fancy their A1? Which I said, thanks ever so much, but I'm actually looking at buying your X1. They said, no worries, we'll send you both. Best day of my life. Now, one of the things that put me off getting one of these is I thought they'd be real technical to use and I'd have to learn to use all different kinds of software. I couldn't have been more wrong. They're so simple. You literally just download an app, you scroll through loads of different designs people have already made, you press print and away it goes. Now, when it comes to doing your own designs, I think it's a bit of a different story. You do have to learn software and it's a bit more technical. Now, I haven't tried it yet, so I'll let you know when I do, but there's thousands of different designs out there that you can download and print for free. Now, the way these work is you load this filament, which is basically plastic string, and then it goes down the tube into this hot end, which then melts the plastic, and then it draws a pattern on the plate, and then it just goes up in layers until it's finished. So this is just a few of the bits that I've printed so far, and surprise, surprise, it's tools. So I've got a tool to print more tools. So firstly, we've got a spanner to do solder connectors. Then we've got a soldering station where you put the 2 wires in and then you can solder away. The soldering iron stand. Some corner clamps for doing woodwork. That's a stand, so you can use it like a vise. These go on the end there, so I can use them in tracksaw rails. And also, I can use these for clamping up pipe work. Now, for everything that I've printed so far, to be honest, I could have used the cheaper A1 version. But where the X1s come into their own is if you're using more robust material like ABS, or if you're doing prints that this can't do. Because this is in a closed cabinet, it can get a lot hotter, and also these are a lot quicker. Now, without a doubt, with all the tools I've ever had, these have impressed me the most. So I'll get Millie and Kenzie to tell you what they are.
A nice bit of kit for the workshop.
Now, like always, I always like to keep the general involved, so I've done our own special print. Now, I can assure you this is a microphone, and to prove it, I'm going to do some little demonstrations. I'm going to sing you some songs. We just got to get the general to approve them first. So we'll go Climax by Usher.
No!
What's New Pussycat, Tom Jones.
No!
Use Me by Bill Withers.
Absolutely not.
I Feel It Coming, The Weekend.
No!
Well, it looks like she's not going to approve any. So I'm just going to have to do it, do it, do it, do it, do it now. Lick it good, lick that p***.
Morning, everybody. Today is going to be a good day because we are going to get this sofa finished, and it's going to be easier, dare I say, because all we need to do is build a little box to go on the front here, and then there's some supports for this lid to go in here, and then across the front we need to make sure that this panel's removable because we need to be able to take it off to get to this gearbox cover and do any work. Now, I've made a start on the first bit of the cabinet, and I wanted to show you a little trick for getting nice finishes when using pocket hole screws to make your cabinetry. Now, I simply cannot hold these perfectly flush when I'm screwing them in. And I think it's because with a pocket hole screw, the screws go in on a bit of an angle, don't they? And so when you get to that last little bit where you tension it up, it always seems to slip back a mil or two. Then you don't get that nice flush finish. So I have to use clamps, which is not too bad when you're on a bit like this, where it's nice and flush, and you can use one of John's old favourites, the corner clamp. You can just pop that on, tighten it up, and that will keep it nice and square. But where that doesn't work is when you're trying to do something like put in a shelf and you're in the middle of a board. So all I do there is I get a bit of scrap wood, make sure it's got a nice square edge, and I'll put that on a little bit higher than where I think my board's going to sit and clamp it up. And then as you can see, when I put my board on, it's sitting a little bit proud. So then all I have to do is just tap it down till I get it nice and flush, clamp my clamps up nice and tight, and then I can screw it in and it won't move. Now, there's a lot of different ways we could have designed these cabinets, but we've gone for the good old simple lift out inset lid. But one thing we have learned through trial and error over the years is when you've got two surfaces that are painted, they quite often stick together. And it doesn't seem to matter how long you leave them to cure, and it seems to be much worse when you put weight on them, particularly when you're sitting on it. So something we're going to try in this build is we bought some felt tape and we're going to put that on the top of the support bars. But we've just made sure that we've put them down far enough to account for this when we screwed them in. And then a couple of little bits from doing the lids. So the first is the easiest way by far to find the middle of your workpiece. And this one comes from John's old mate, Mickey D. So rather than measuring it up and getting 373 divided by 2 and then doing it the other way, all you do is go to your corners, find your diagonal, put a mark where you think's roughly the middle, then do the same the other way, and then where X marks the spot is the centre of your piece. And then to get a nice finish around your edges, and particularly round circles, we just use a round over bit in the router.
Now, are you going to tell them what you just did a minute ago?
What did I do a minute ago?
Go on, do it, or otherwise I'll show them with the hole. Go on, do it.
I said that you get a nice finish in the hole.
Do it the way you did it. No, do it the way... She went to me, right, she was like, shall I tell him that you get a real nice finish in the hole? It feels good. Everyone thinks I'm the weirdo.
Living with him all these years.
So the good news is it all fits, but just like the cabinets, that's as far as we're going to go with these because we want to get them out, get it all painted before we secure them in. But the way we've designed this cushion system at the back is we're going to do this whole piece at the back in one cushion and then a separate one that goes over the toilet. So when old Pissy Pants has to go every 2 minutes, all she has to do is take off that cushion, that lid, and she can get to the toilet. But also these cushions are going to double up for the pull-out bed. So we kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
But before we can go any further, we need some supplies.
First up, the wood shop.
I think you've probably got enough of those, love.
What? And of course, a trip to the Old Faithful, me and Q.
So we get a lot of questions about what paint we use, and we just use good old B&Q home brand, good home, tough and durable paint. Goes on nicely and it scrubs clean. It's cheap. Now normally there's a deal if you buy more than one, but there's no deal today. Fuming. But I know the question on everybody's lips is, what colour are we going for? And this time, it's Bellina. Bit of green. Well, surprise, surprise, he's wandered off, but I've got a hunch where he might be. Step away.
Now the tape measure debacle continues because I didn't know there was two different classes of tape measures. There's a class 1 and a class 2. And the way you can tell is you open it up and there's some Roman numerals on the inside. Obviously 1 is for 1, 2 is for 2. And the class 1 is a lot more accurate. So we need to be getting some more of them.
We do not need to be getting more of them.
And I learnt that one from you lot in the comments.
And last stop, and most important, takeaway. I couldn't decide if I wanted pizza or peri-peri, so I got both. Well, we're going to have to leave you there for this week because I cannot concentrate with the smell of this takeaway, and let's be honest, by the time I've eaten it, I'm going to be in a food coma and no use to anybody.
But we've got plenty of supplies to go out for Big Red for next week, and we had the canvas delivered while we're out as well, so we can't wait to show you that one.
Although I'm not going to lie, I am well nervous to see if it fits. But we just want to say thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Love you, baby. Ow! Sweet like chocolate balls.
Not balls, boy!
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You can do it, put your back into it. I need your love and never going back for more, baby.
That's not how it goes.
I don't know the words for songs, so I just make them up myself. And when I get that feeling, I want a sexual healing. I like big butts and I cannot lie. So we'll see you next week for some more True Blue karaoke.